Welcome back everyone to another training week. You're watching the week of June 5th, where the weekly focus was returning to all 6 apparatus per session in the rebuild towards nationals. I believe I did that on the Thursday and the Friday, and I'll stick to just 3 apparatus on the Monday and the Tuesday. Now this week it was a public holiday on the Monday, so we did not have training. A couple of highlights were a new high bar connection with Coach David, who came up again on the Tuesday. So very thankful to David, who's coming up on his own allowance to help me out. Yeah, there you'll see me pointing. I hurt my hand playing around too much on pommel horse. So I think we got a question that I apologize to anyone that every now and then asks questions and I forget to include it into the videos, but this time I remembered to go back to the messages and find one question from Jason. Jason, sorry to leave you hanging, but the question was, how many hours a week are you doing gymnastics training, and do you do any additional strength and conditioning sessions like weights, etc.? How many hours? Well, you guys see it all. You know exactly what I do. I guess the question here is time, and one session takes me about 3 hours to get through, and I train Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and sometimes I do the occasional little sesh on a Saturday with some air track. As far as supplementary weight stuff, I would like to do more. I've never done it. I've only ever done body weight, general gymnastics conditioning. Not too much on the ring strength side, which in these later years I regret. So I'm trying to do a little bit more ring strength right now. But man, oh man, that was like 7 tries or something. I can't believe how much high bar I'm doing just in one session. And I think a part of that is because I'm doing high bar just after a pommel horse session, whereas before I was training high bar as a 6th apparatus. So all of the work that I did building up to Oceania, building my all-round tolerance up, has actually made me able to take a lot more turns on an apparatus when I'm only doing 3 apparatus. So there we go. Now to finish the question, I did the hours, but yeah, in terms of weights, I'm trying to incorporate now, especially like muscles that you don't use too much in gymnastics, and trying to get a more holistic approach towards shoulder strength, shoulder mobility, things like that. And I'm finding when I'm lifting weights in a slow range of motion, I'm actually getting in touch with how I'm moving my muscle, how I'm moving my body. And then when I go to the fast twitch gymnastics, it translates, the understanding translates. Only doing the fast twitch gymnastics, I like to say that you sort of go from one range of your muscles straight to the other. It's very quick and you don't contract the muscle holistically. And now in my prime, where I'm a lot more in tune with my body, how things are working, I'm actually seeing the benefits between a deeper understanding of muscle activation. It prevents injuries, especially shoulder injuries on rings with all the front giants and Yamawakis that we do. So yeah, I would suggest, I'm no expert, but I would suggest, if you can find an expert in injury prevention and things like that, to not just do the exercises, but to do the exercises consciously. You might ask, why did I include that clip? Because I was feeling a little bit tired after the horse session, and I was like, okay, I really want to catch Mars today. I'm going to take a little rest and gather up some energy to potentially have a catch. Which leads me to the next part. It's on a different day, but I actually lost my shit during a high bar session. But we'll save that for when it comes. So anyway, you can tell, and I can tell, that energetically I'm pretty much there. I probably have the height to get that second hand on. But you know, I need to think of a drill for that last little bit. How to sort of bend my body more towards the bar rather than curving downwards away from the bar. I'm gonna incorporate more stoop half work into my training. It's a smart skill, and if I'm gonna stick around as a specialist on high bar, if I add that skill, I literally don't need to change anything else. I'll have a competitive start value, even compared to some of the best guys in the world. But that, yeah, so that stoop half, potentially stoop full, would get me up into those, you know, sixes, mid sixes, whatever it is. Stoop half Kolman, you know, I'd like to actually give stoop half Kolman a try. And I sent David a funny text. I told him I did a stoop half Kolman, and I added 2 clips together. Unfortunately, I filmed the stoop half from one angle and the Kolman from a slightly different angle, so you could tell it was spliced together, so to speak. Again, you might be asking, what the hell am I doing here? Well, my hand was a bit sore after that pommel horse work. I actually had quite a big bruise on my palm. So instead of doing support work on P-bar, I tried to do some double backs. Now by itself, it's a C dismount. And I just stuck a C dismount on P-bar, fam. But when I was younger, I swore to myself I would never do any giant double backs to upper arm. I was terrified of grip. Even giants were really difficult for me growing up. But you might remember a couple of years ago, I caught Tageda. I think it's pronounced properly a Tageda, or spelled T-A-G-E-D-A, the peach double back, which was upgraded from a D to an E a few years ago. And I almost displaced my chest when I caught it, but I caught it nonetheless. So perhaps for a bit of fun, not necessarily to add into my routine, it will only give me 0.1, but to try a bell. And David is coming up again this Tuesday, so maybe we get some mat slides and give it a try. But honestly, I'd rather do some high bar with David. That Cassina Kolman connection, even though it was way far from catching, that's been a dream of mine for a long time. So now I've done my dream connections. I've sent them, the Pagan to Kolman and the Cassina to Kolman. So the next step is to catch them. I'd be all over it if I didn't have to do routines and prepare for competitions, but right now, because World Championships is coming up, and of course Nationals, priority is the routine content. Got Sammy to slide in the mat on the Friday, because I was trying to see if I could curve my back to the bar. Didn't quite get it done. And here I just felt every turn like it was there for me. It was mine to take. All I had to do was just reach, but didn't quite get it. So I was already extremely frustrated. So I was like, whatever, move on, do a high bar routine. Not good practice, not warming up any other skills and just sending it straight into a routine. I missed. So the amount of pent up energy is quite high right now inside of myself, and I was holding it together. The only people in the gym were the boys, so there wasn't anyone else. But I was still trying to set a good example, control your emotions, stay grounded. But fam, sometimes enough is enough, and you gotta vent. So although I don't recommend it, here's my vent. And then really quick, I said, sorry boys, had to let it out. So out it goes, but immediately back to the senses. Every now and then, you know, every now and then things get to me. Looks like I still got a long way to go. It's gonna be tough coming back to all 6 apparatus per session. Feel like it's been, what, a couple of weeks now since Auckland Champs, and I haven't done the all 6 apparatus training since then. And as hard as it was coming back to all six, as much suffering as it was, as you'll see on floor, I actually felt okay by the end of it all. Now you'll see me testing out some new floor tumbles. I am going to try to get this punch double pike, because as Mr. Cam J pointed out a few weeks ago, just doing a double pike by itself would be a bit more stable than doing it from a layout. So this day I did it onto the resi, tucked it a little bit at the end, but you know, put it on my feet. So at this stage, I'm just going to pursue the double pike from punch. Now the front tuck over here, whip 2.5, as you all know, is quite a difficult thing to stick. You don't want to undercook it and land on your butt trying to stick it. So my thought is, if I learn a whip 2.5 punch tuck half, that will be an easier stick. I'm not going to count the front half towards my difficulty. The front layout and the front half are in the same box, and my front layout happens first during the layout double front. So it's an 11th skill, so to speak. It's not going to mess up my routine. It's not going to add any start value, but it could save me a 10th on landing. Of course, I'm gonna have to make that consistent. You know, sometimes you can undercook the 2.5 and the front half is low, so you get a height deduction even if you stick it. Sometimes the 2.5 can be overcooked and the front half goes flying forwards. So all sorts of things can happen, but it's not so difficult that, you know, you can't get it right. So I'm gonna keep going, see where it takes me. We finished the week off with some vault. I sent another Yuchenko 2.5, and one of them almost landed, and decided to give that bruise on my hand a good rest, and just did a couple of double backs. So another fun week to come. Looking forward to having David up again. Thanks for watching. Till next time.